This is going to be a 12-minute mat series in standing, focusing on our hip, core, and balance. Let's get started. Starting in standing at the back edge of your mat, bringing the legs about hip width apart, getting a small bend in your knees as you then pull your core up and in, and initiating a hip hinge by hinging your hips back and behind you. Core remains pulled up and in. Arms are going to straighten out at about shoulder height to start, and you're going to inhale to lift your arms up and overhead, to exhale to push the arms down and back, beginning a standing version of our hundreds here. Core remains pulled up and in as arms move up and over the head, and then exhale to push back. Inhale up and over, exhale, push back. Good, we're starting to warm up some of those shoulder muscles behind the back here. Core's pulled up and in to remain this position. We're going to start to pick up the pace, breathing however you see fit, pumping the arms up and down, lifting up, pushing back. Imagine you're moving through quicksand with these arms, giving yourself your own resistance, getting a really good warm up here as we start in standing today. Coordinating your breath however you see fit. Don't forget to breathe. Good, seeing if you can double time the arms up and overhead to push back. Energy remaining in those arms. Elbows are straight. Feeling all of those arm muscles starting to warm up during this exercise session. Good, and come into a standing position. Initiating our full roll up and downs in standing. We're going to start to tuck the head in, rolling all the way down towards the mat, one vertebrae at a time. And then inhaling to roll all the way back up into standing. Relax the shoulders down and back. Inhale to grow tall and standing. Exhale to tuck the chin in and roll all the way down. Exhaling down. Inhale to roll up one vertebrae at a time. And exhale to relax the effort at the top here. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, roll all the way down. Control this with your abdominal muscles as you roll down. And rolling back up, we're going to start to pick up the pace here, making this more of an exercise rather than a stretch. Growing tall to roll down, to roll right back on up. Getting a nice lengthen through the spine, but keeping this active. Roll down again, to roll all the way up. Tucking the chin in, one vertebrae at a time. Rolling up nice and slow, controlling with your core. One more roll down. To roll all the way up. Good, meeting at the top here for our single leg circles. We're going to keep the hips about hip width apart again, initiating that same knee bend here. And you're going to keep these thighs dialed in as you start to lift up your right knee. Good, so I'm in standing, balancing on the left leg. Arms are to your side. You're going to start to draw a circle with this knee that's lifted, starting in clockwise directions, feeling that hip flexor start to wake up. Core is pulled up and in to aid in balance. Good, we've got 2 more circles in this direction. And start to reverse your circle. Stay growing tall here and standing. Breathe. Core pulled up and in. Good, feeling all those muscles waking up to help you with your balance all the way through the foot, up through the core and hips. And switching to the opposite leg. Right foot is down, left leg lifts up off the mat. Starting with clockwise direction with the left leg. Core's pulled up and in, grow tall. Energy through that standing foot as well as the moving leg. I've got the moving leg's foot flexed here, but whatever feels comfortable for you. We're focusing on the hips here. Reverse your circle. Don't lose that core activation. Remembering to breathe. 2 more circles here. Try to make those circles nice and smooth with the front of the knee. Good, and put the foot back down. Good, do a small knee bend to shake out the legs. We're going to transition into part of our core series, doing our crisscrosses in a standing position. Same small knee bend in our knees. This is kind of where we're finding that strong pose in standing here. We're going to start to lengthen out the right leg long on a diagonal, still keeping the feet in parallel with one another. I'm going to bring my arms up and around to where my head meets my neck here. Core's pulled up and in to start. We're going to start to twist the left elbow towards the right side, right as we bring the right knee towards that elbow. And pulse here for 2, and lengthen long. Staying on that same side again, start to pulse for 1, 2, to lengthen. Feeling those oblique muscles waking up as you pulse. All of those same stabilizer muscles working to maintain your balance. Good, we've got 3 more here. Energy through the core, pulling up and in. Keep dialing in those inner thighs every time you start to bring that knee up. Shoulders are active here. Feeling that left leg really working to keep your balance. Whew. And it's okay to lose it. Just re-find your center. Let's do 1 more on the right. And switching over to the left side. Lengthening the left leg long in the mat, keeping those hands right behind where the head meets the neck. Core's pulled up and in. Don't let that pelvis rock forward here. Keep this all nice and aligned in a neutral spine. Starting to twist again to the left this time with that right elbow. Pulsing in the left knee for 1, 2, lengthen long. Twisting to pulse, 2, to lengthen. Trying to keep that right leg really stable here. Not letting that knee cave in to the center or to the outer edge of your mat. Keeping the knee over your toes. We've got 3 more. Pulsing 1, 2, to lengthen. Feeling those side abdominals, really getting a warm up here. And pulse 1, 2, to lengthen. Good, let's find our center again. Legs hip width apart. Let's do 1 more forward fold before we move on. Inhaling to lengthen. And exhale to roll down. Good, inhaling to roll all the way up. And exhale, relax the effort here. We're going to transition into our side kick series here in standing. Our side kick series is going to involve the leg coming out into that same kind of side long diagonal here. Starting with our kicks forward and back. So my core is pulled up and in to start. Hands are on my hips, wherever you feel comfortable here. I like to have my hands here to make sure I'm not doing any kind of weird movements with my pelvis. Meaning having that tilt too far forward or back. I really want to stay super stable even when I am moving that leg. Again, straightening out the right leg to the side. Flexing the feet to brush forward. Pointing the toes to brush back behind you. Staying in that diagonal. Flex to brush forward. Point to brush behind. Focusing on keeping that core pulled up and in. Noticing how much work that standing leg is getting here. Flex to kick forward. Point back. Flex to kick forward. And point to kick back. We've got 2 more here. Flex to kick. And point to brush. Flex to kick. And point to brush. Good. Meet back on 2 standing legs. Small knee bend before we transition to the other side. Switching our legs, switching our balance over to that right leg, extending the left leg long, flexing to kick forward, and pointing to brush back. Flex and kick forward, point to brush behind you. Good, really keeping yourself nice and tall here. Activating those abdominals. Those knee and hip stabilizers are firing a ton on that standing leg. We've got 3 more on the left here. Flexing to brush forward. Pointing to kick behind. Flex forward. Brush behind. Let's do 1 more here. Don't lose that core activation. And meeting back on 2 standing legs. Small knee bend. Before we switch to the other side. Next, we're going for our lifts and lowers. Transitioning your weight onto the left leg, straightening out the right leg long. We're going to flex the foot to lift it up, working on those abductor muscles, pointing to lower down, inner thigh muscles. Flex to lift, point to lower. Flex to lift up off of the floor, point and lower. Flex and lift, point to lower. Those toes are staying parallel with the standing leg. Core's pulled up and in. It's a small movement, but it sure is mighty. Flex and lift, point and lower, switching over to the opposite side. Good, weight is on your right leg, flexing to lift, pointing to lower. We're moving the left leg now. Flex and lift, point and lower. Flex to lift, and point to lower. Flex and lift, point lower down, moving through quicksand here. Really nice and slow. One more. Good, transitioning back to the other side for our circle. Small knee bend in the center. And switching your weight over to the left leg, lengthening the right. Starting with clockwise circles with that moving leg for 1, 2. So this is a small circle in the air. Trying to keep those edges nice and smooth. Really feeling those abductor muscles still kicking on. And reverse your circle. Checking in as your core pulled up and in. And switching to the other side, small knee bend in the center, lengthening out the left leg, and starting with your clockwise circles for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse your circle for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, meet in the center. Both legs are on the mat now. Bend your knees to recenter here. We're going to zip our heels together to finish today with a standing pose. We're going to remain in standing, starting to grow so tall. You can relax your arms to the side. Beginning to grow so tall in your standing position that you feel yourself lift up and off of your heels into your toes. And now looking over to your right shoulder and bringing your gaze over to the left. Maintaining your balance as you look back to center. And lower the heels down with control. Again, lengthening through the spine, growing up so tall that your heels lift up. Looking over to the left. And over to the right. Back to center. Lower with control. Good, we're going to do one more balance challenge here, lifting the heels up and off the mat as you grow. Challenge yourself by closing your eyes here. Noticing how reliant we are on our visual feedback to maintain our balance. Really challenging those ankle stabilizers. Trying to hold here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can open your eyes, lower the heels down. Try to maintain that same length through the spine throughout the rest of your day. You are all set.